Hey guys, I'm back. Today I want to show you Morphe's 39S Such a Gem palette. It's an eyeshadow palette. And so far I've been really happy with Morphe's palettes. So I'm hoping I'll be just as happy with this one. This one does have a lot more pinks and purples, which is why I got it. But it does have some neutrals, some browns, and some sparkle to it as well. So I'm gonna go ahead and swatch everything for you. Get my little cheat sheet here. Okay, so this first one is called Make and Bank, and it's a super reflective, kind of pretty metallic-y color. I love Morphe's palettes. They're always so big though. So it's pretty light right off the bat. It really is just kind of a neutral, kind of a silvery tone right here. So, and the next one is this one right here. This is called Posh Boss. That's Posh Boss. It's kind of a mauve-y, kind of purple. And then the next one is called Bougie. It's a really pretty pinkish color here. It's really pretty hot pink color. That one's a lot more pigmented than the other two so far. The next one, this is a really pretty one. It has some grays, but it also has some blue kind of sparkle to it right here. That one is called Dazzle. I'll show you what it looks like. This one doesn't come off as easily. This would probably do better if you wet your brush on this one. It's really pretty in person, but it's barely showing up at all on camera, and in fact it looks more brown here. I would say wet your brush on that one. Next one is called Perfection. This one would be really good for like a highlight. So yeah, I know I'm super fair complected, but this is really pretty in person. Pretty highlight color. So then this next one right here is called Super Swanky. It's a pretty light brown color. It actually comes out a little bit more on the reddish tone than you think it will. Could be a little bit because my arm is damp right now, so it could be a little bit more pigmented looking, which is good because, like I said a minute ago, if you wet your brush, it'll bring out some of these colors that maybe aren't as pigmented on their own. So the next one is called Flaunt It. It's a really pretty kind of bright reddish magenta color. Super pretty, like a magenta hot pink color. And then the last one on the first row is called Plums Up. It's a really pretty purple. I bet I'll be using this one a lot actually. Super pigmented. Right here, super dark. Okay, so now we're on the second row. This is Marvelous. It's a really pretty shimmery kind of mauve color. This doesn't come out as dark as you think it's going to, but so that's Marvelous. It's pretty. It actually has a little bit more of a rose gold tone than it looks like in the actual palette. The next one is called Pink Prize. It's really pretty light pink. Yeah, and you know, some of these colors are more matte than others. This one in particular is pretty matte in person. And actually, if you were wanting to do some pink tones and you wanted to kind of match your blush to your eyeshadow, that would be a really pretty color to do that with. The next one is this really pretty bright purple one. And this one is called Amethyst Awe. It's really pretty dark purple. Again, this is another one that looks like it's going to be more pigmented than it is, but actually I like that in this case because I was afraid this was going to be a little dark, but I like this one. This next one is called Treasure Trove, and I don't know if the light is going to be able to catch it here. It has some kind of greenish kind of tones. I'm going to guess it's probably going to come out a little more gray. Definitely has some gray and green in it. Some pretty shimmer. And then this one is called Ritzy Rose right here. So it has some orangey peachy tones to it. It's really pretty. This next one is called Decadent AF. It's a brown, kind of rusty color. Oh, that's a pretty brown. Just kind of a simple, it doesn't have too much orange in it. I like it. I actually like that one better than this one. The next one is called Berry Good. And again, it's kind of a bright pink, kind of magenta-y color. So that's that right there. And again, this one is called Berry Good. So the last one on the second row is called That's Tempting. It's kind of a brownish, kind of dusty rose, kind of brownish color. That's this one right here. Really pretty. A little bit of purple tone to it. Definitely has some brown. Pretty dark. So then now we're on to the third row. This one is called Take the Crown. Running out of room. So I'm going to switch arms here. Just a really pretty silver color right here. Like that a lot. All right, so then the next one is Oh Yes, right here. It's a really pretty like pink shimmer to it. Hopefully you can see the difference. This one had more of a matte color, whereas this has a lot more metallics to it. That one feels really good. It's like, not powdery, but it's like soft, like the formula is really soft. This is really pretty in person. I bet the camera's not gonna do it justice. It's a pink kind of shimmer right here. Next one is called Total Goals, and it has some purples for sure in it, but if the light hits it just right, it kind of has some more like, I don't know, it's like plum and then sort of like lavender-y shimmer to it almost, maybe even a little bit of blue. It has just a little bit more of a darker tone than this one. This one is definitely more on the pinky side, whereas this is almost rose gold or like kind of more on the purple side. The next one is called Catch the Light, and it has more like yellowy tones to it. So, right there. So you see the difference. That was the Take the Crown, and this one was Catch the Light. So again, it has just a little bit more of a like a champagne or like a yellow tone to it. And then this next one, it's again kind of a brownish, kind of coppery kind of color. This one is called Bling Thing. Don't know if I'll use this color very much. I don't do a ton of brown tones, but definitely has some yellows to it and some golds. Definitely darker than the other one. The next two are called Here For It and Strike a Pose. And this one is kind of again, kind of a purplish pink. It's definitely lighter than this one was over here. And then this one's kind of a maroon kind of color with a little bit of shimmer into it too. So I'm gonna go ahead and do both of those at the same time. Okay, so again, this one is Here For It. It has a really pretty iridescent purple kind of to it. And then Strike a Pose, which I thought was gonna be a lot more of like a maroon color, but it's actually coming out more like more of a pinkish peachy kind of color. So now that I've cleaned my arms off because I was running out of room here, I'm gonna get into the last two rows here. There's lots and lots of purple on these rows, so I'm sorry if I kind of describe things repetitively a little bit, but they're definitely kind of all in that same pretty like purple family. The first one on the fourth row here is called Lavender. Just a pretty shimmery lavender. So yeah, some of these are not as pigmented, and they're definitely not as creamy. Like this one, I'm having a hard time even getting it. Yeah, this one doesn't have a lot of color to it. It's so light that I don't even know if you're catching any of the sparkle in this, but it is kind of a lavendery purple, super light. Okay, so the next one is called Purple Majesty. So that's Purple Majesty. The next one is called It's Violet. That's pretty. Okay, so that's Violet, which is actually more like what I thought Lavender would have turned out like. The next one is really pretty. It's super vibrant. This is called Make It Rain, R-A-I-G-N. Color on my hand. Kind of a medium purple. It's pretty. All right. So the next one is called You Fancy. Again, kind of a coppery kind of color here. Lots of browns in this palette, I'm noticing. Ooh, that one's really pretty. It's super, super shimmery in person. But yeah, it's kind of an orangey tone, but it definitely has some sparkle to it. The next one is kind of another brown color called Fame Game. And again, it's more of like a matte brown. Yeah, it's like a darker matte brown, super pigmented. I'm noticing on like the more matte colors that they're super pigmented this time. The next one is Extra Oomph. It doesn't look like it's gonna have as much of a copper tone as You Fancy over here did. Yeah, it's not as pigmented as You Fancy, but this would be a good neutral. I know it's super light, I'm sorry you guys. Just some of these are just not as pigmented. The last one on the next to last row is called Why Not. It's like a really pretty Merlot. Oh well, yeah, again, another kind of matte color. This would be a really pretty nail polish actually, but yeah, I like that one, it's pretty. So now I'm gonna get into the very last row. So this first color is called Perry Twinkle. It definitely has a little bit more purple than what I would call periwinkle. See, now I would think that this is more of a lavender personally, but I actually like it a little bit better than the lavender. To me, it just has more pigment to it. The next one is really pretty. Probably use this one a lot. This one is called Loaded Lilac. Loaded Lilac has some shimmer to it. I bet I'll use this one a lot. The next one is right here, and it's called Grape Mines. Just a good purple. Again, another kind of matte color, super purple pigmented, which is, again, that's why I picked this palette, because I wear so many purples all the time. So this next one is called Shiny Objects, and it's almost kind of like a shimmery, kind of like a bluish, greenish, like maybe sea foamy color, but we'll see what it looks like on. Yeah, it's pretty. Okay, so yeah, it definitely has some greens, has a little bit of blue. It doesn't have as much of like the gray color as some of the others that have a little bit of green in them. I like it. The next one is called Pure Luxe. And again, it's another kind of neutral color, kind of a goldish tone. Super light on me. I don't know if the camera's gonna be able to show. Yeah, you can barely see it, but has just a kind of a gold tone a little bit. That would be a really good base color. This one I was really excited about. I don't know how much I'll actually use it personally, but it was so pretty in the palette. But this one is called Show Off, and it's by far the sparkliest one in the entire palette. Sometimes ones that have like big, wow, okay, I was wrong. What I was about to say, I will go ahead and take back, but I was gonna say that a lot of times when they have big chunks of glitter, it doesn't really transfer onto your skin very easily, but this one just changed my mind. Look at this, you guys. That is, for not being just a glitter, like a straight up glitter that you apply, that's probably the glitteriest eyeshadow I've ever seen. It does kind of flake if you do that. I was just kind of curious. But if you have a really good primer or something, that would kind of help it stay in place a little bit better. Wow. Okay, so two other colors. So we've got Garnet Glam and then Rocks On. Rocks On is like a black, but it has some like green fleck to it. This Garnet Glam is kind of like a purple, kind of a, I wouldn't say plum, but kind of a dusty kind of purple. So I'll show you these last two kind of together. So this is Garnet Glam. It's a black kind of color. I said a minute ago it was going to be kind of a purple. I definitely see more black in it personally. And then on Rocks On, again, that was the one that I said has some black with some green fleck. You should be able to see the green fleck in it now. But yeah, so that's the palette. Those are all the colors and what they look like on kind of fair skin and everything. Man, that glitter is everywhere. Yeah, so be mindful of that one on Show Off. It definitely lives up to its name. There was a really good mixture of you know, matte colors and metallics and all of that. I kind of wish they had more colors like this in this palette because that was really impressive. Lots of pretty purples and kind of mauve and lavender, and I definitely personally am more impressed with the matte colors in this palette just because they are so pigmented. Whereas, you know, some of the iridescent ones, kind of like these two right here, didn't transfer on to my skin as easily. Again, maybe they would all do better with a primer, an eye primer first, which I do always do. But I am gonna go ahead and throw a little bit of this on and kind of show you what it's gonna look like. So just give me just a second, I'm gonna figure out what I wanna use. I'm gonna go ahead and start with Catch the Light for my brow bone, just because I think that that will be a good base. Yeah, that's a good brow color there. Lots and lots of shimmer and light reflectiveness. This would be really good on the inside corners. I may go back through there in a minute and add that into there a little toward the end. I'm gonna go ahead and go into just a little bit of Flaunt It, just because it was so pigmented. I'm gonna go super, super light-handed on it, but I'm gonna do that in my crease just a little. I wouldn't use this one all the time for sure. It's a little much for me for every day. So I got a new ring light, you guys, and I'm still getting used to it. I'm not used to having this much light in my face, but it was time. It was definitely time to upgrade some of my equipment. I'm gonna blend that out better in just a second. I think I'm gonna go ahead and go into, oh yes, it's kind of this pearlized kind of pink color right here. And that kind of blends out the other. Somehow I always end up not doing anything super crazy, but we're about to go out, so I don't want to do something ridiculous. That's pretty though. I bet I'll be using this a lot, actually. I'm gonna go in with a little bit of Pure Luxe right here. I'm gonna kind of do it on this lid right here. Pure Luxe. The nice thing about having more neutrals is I can always kind of color correct and buff out and whatever. That's okay. All right. I'm actually gonna go in with this color right here. It's called Here For It. Kind of overdid it on that very first, on my crease color, so I'm gonna try to tone it down just a little. Okay, I'm actually gonna go in for my inner corner here. I'm gonna go to Perfection. That was a really pretty, just pearlized color. Just to kind of brighten the inner corners here. Whoops. And that one does not take much, it turns out, but it's okay. And I think I'm just gonna stop there. But I do like the colors. I just want a little bit more time to actually play around. But I don't want to bore you guys. I really have just been dying to review this palette, and I wanted to wait till I actually had time to sit down and do something with it rather than just running through all the colors and not telling you anything about it. I really do like this palette. I feel like there are a lot of colors that would go really, really well together that I will be able to use a lot, actually, with all the purples and the pinks and some of the neutrals and everything. I'm still having a really hard time finding a really good just neutral color for my upper lid. That seems to be the biggest issue that I find in palettes like this, is that they try to stick so much to a color theme that they forget that people also need the basic colors too, like for your brow and your all over color or whatever. But that's okay. This is a really good palette. I definitely would recommend it if you like purples and pinks for sure. And again, they have some really cool colors thrown in that I wouldn't necessarily use all the time, but that were really impressive, like the show off color, again, which really lives up to its name and everything. So if you like a good mix of colors, I definitely think this palette is worth it. And again, it's 39 colors for $39, I think is how much this retailed for. So again, this is the Such a Gem Morphe palette, and I really like it. So if you guys buy it and like it, let me know. If you don't like it, shoot me a comment, let me know that too. I'm always curious what other people's experiences are and everything. Anyway, I hope that this helped. I hope this gives you a better idea of what to expect from this palette. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.